Okay, hello year 11. So this is the first in what is going to become a series of videos that are intended to guide you through both your paper 3, so that's your Germany paper, and your paper 2, that's your Elizabeth content. I'm creating these along with Miss Lewis in preparation for your November mock series, but these will also be really useful for when you do the actual thing next summer, and also when you do your mocks in March as well. There will be videos certainly before March on the medicine paper as well. So that's on paper 1, and we'll also do some bits in terms of Cold War. So I'm going to do these videos. Hopefully they won't last more than 10 minutes because I don't want to overload you with information. You can come back to these videos, you can pause it. We'll be dropping little activities in the middle as well. So these are things that you can keep coming back to as a reference and a revision guide. So the whole point of this is for us to talk through individual questions and give you hints and tips about the paper, or papers, I should say. So to begin with, this is the video that it sort of introduces paper 3, and it's just going to talk you through the paper itself, things to take note of, and hints and tips that I've certainly learned from being an examiner on this paper and for teaching it for a number of years. So paper 3, you can see here's paper 3. This is the last paper typically that you will sit when you do your GCSEs. So you almost certainly will have already done paper 1 and paper 2 by this point when you do it next summer. As you can see on the front, it tells you the topic and the content. So please do always make sure that it's something that you have actually studied and you've not been given the wrong paper. We should know by this point that you put your surname in this one, any other names in this one, so that includes your middle name. Centre number goes in here, candidate number goes in here. You don't need to really understand any of the rest of it. The only other important part here is how long you actually have to complete this paper. So because this is paper 3, this is the Germany paper, you get 1 hour and 20 minutes. Now, I'm going to come back to that in a bit because I'm going to give you some advice about how to allot your time for this one. You got all the usual stuff on the front telling you that you can only use black ink, fill in all the boxes, answer all the questions in sections A and B. That's in bold because it's important. Remember, if you leave it blank, it's always wrong. Even the kindest examiner can't give you any marks for a blank answer. So please do write something. Be brave. I'm going to write that on the front. Something that I want you to do on all of your papers as well, actually, now I think about it. Okay, a little reminder to yourselves, be brave. It's marked out of 52. Okay, so if you're someone who's targeted a 5, we generally talk about a 5 being just over 50%. It's usually about 53%, something like that. So you're probably looking for about 27, 28 for a 5, generally. Obviously, this fluctuates depending on how well the rest of the country does, but that's usually what you're going for here, okay? A grade 9 usually is around 85% typically, okay? So bear that in mind when you are going through these papers. There's not really an awful lot else on the front cover that you really need to be aware of, other than the fact that it says you should have a sources and interpretations booklet as well as the question booklet, because this is the paper that really asks you to look at sources, really asks you to look at interpretations as well too. So you can do this paper and score some marks even if you don't know a lot about Germany, because you're just using the content that is given to you for some of these questions. Okay, it's always nice at the bottom here. It does say, "Good luck with your examination." Okay, so there is some helpful advice here. It does say check your answers if you have time at the end. Always important. Try to answer every question. Read every question carefully before you start to answer it. That's certainly something that I'll be coming back to. Now I'm just going to walk you through the paper so that you have a bit of an idea of what to look out for. So that's the front cover. The first thing that you will see is up here. It says Section A. This question paper comes in 2 sections. Section A is the smaller section. Section B is the bigger section. You can't do this paper from back to front. You can do Section B first and then Section A, or Section A first and Section B second if you want. It doesn't matter, but you must do each section as a whole. It doesn't matter which way around you do it, but you can do them as a whole. Just don't do this paper backwards like you would on any other paper. Okay, So you've got a source here. This is usually a written source, but sometimes it is a photograph or a political cartoon or something like that. You have your provenance here. This will always be here. Okay, so remember, this is our W's. This is our what type of source, our who wrote it, where it's from. You can get why it was produced from this. Okay, provenance is important, but not for question 1. Okay, so you don't need this for question 1. In fact, something I quite often get my year 11s to do, for your first source, when it comes to the Germany paper, it's often a good idea, if you don't trust yourself, to put a line through that, because you only need source A for question 1, and question 1 is an inference question. You don't need the provenance for it. So it's actually a good idea to put a line through that first source. Okay, all you need is the detail here. Now, if I try and keep that there and then pop the actual question that comes first underneath it. So this is our first question. It's a 4-marker, and you'll find that the marks of each question are at the bottom. So you get 4 marks for this one. It's an inference question. Now that word infer means what can you learn? Okay, so what can you learn about the topic in this question? This will always give you a topic, and it's really important that we read this carefully so that we know what we're being asked about. What can we learn about how the Nazis reacted to the Reichstag fire? I don't care about anything else. All I want to know is what can I learn about how they reacted to the Reichstag fire? What was their response? How did they react to that? I don't care about anything else. I don't care about what caused the Reichstag fire. I don't care about how people acted during the fire. All I care about is how the Nazis, and it is just the Nazis, reacted to the fire. You must read this question 3 times. Okay? I do not want people reading this once and then just moving straight on. Make sure that you understand what you're being asked before you actually answer it. So what I would then do, once I know that I'm being asked about reactions to the fire, I'm going to go back to my source. Again, I'm going to grab my highlighter. I'm using pink, but there are other colours available. Use what you want. I'm then going to read through this source once without highlighting anything. I'm just going to read it. I'm then going to read it a second time, and I'm going to highlight anything that I think is a reaction. So something that happens after the fire by the Nazis. Okay, so let's assume I've read it once. I'm now doing my second sweep, so to speak. I'm going back through and I'm highlighting anything that I think demonstrates a reaction, something that happens afterwards. So, the Reichstag was still burning when I arrived. Hitler stood on a balcony, staring into the flames. Nothing so far about how the Nazis reacted. I've just got a description of what was happening. He shouted uncontrollably. Now that's potentially helpful. Okay, that shows a reaction, doesn't it? That's Hitler reacting to the fire. He's shouting uncontrollably. That does not show that he's calm. It does not show that he's happy necessarily. So potentially here, we've got an angry reaction, haven't we? And by labeling it, I'm already providing a quote. Okay, so I'm going to continue with this. So I'll get my highlighter again. There will be no mercy. Again, this is telling me how the Nazis might react to this, what they might do in response. Every communist official must be shot wherever he is found. Now that tells me who they blame, doesn't it? Every communist, and I'm going to label that with my thoughts, blames the, I'm just going to put comms because this is my paper. I can do what I want with it. There will be no mercy. Okay? So, no forgiveness. Already I've got a couple reactions here, haven't I? Now, I've got a choice here. If I think I've got enough, I can just stop there and I can start answering my question. Or, if I don't think I've got enough, I can continue. So, I ordered a radio message to be sent out, putting the police on a state of alert. The police already had lists of people to arrest. Now, that's not a reaction because it's saying that they already had lists. That means it happened before the Reichstag fire. I'm only looking for how the Nazis reacted afterwards, what the Nazis did after the fire. When I returned to the police headquarters later that night, it was buzzing with activity. Some suspects were already being brought in under arrest. So where it says it was buzzing with activity, suspects were already. That tells me that they reacted quickly. Okay, and again, I'm just going to highlight that just for consistency so it all looks the same. So what I've now got my inferences. So I can infer that they reacted quickly. I can infer that they reacted angrily. I can infer that they were not going to give any forgiveness. And I can infer that they blame the communists. So these labels are actually my inferences. The parts I've highlighted are the details that support my inference. So I've now quite neatly got both things here, inference and a supporting quote. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer this onto here. So what I can infer that they reacted, you don't need full sentences here, reacted angrily. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to cross that out because I've used that now. I've then got my quote. Sorry, I pointed to the wrong thing. Here, angry reaction. So I'm going to cross that out. Okay, I've then got my quote. Details in the source that tell me, shouted uncontrollably. Okay, don't forget your quote marks, shows it's a quote. I'm then going to find another one. Okay, blames the communists. So that's my inference. Again, blames the communists. And then I need a detail to support it. So again, I just find my, so I need to cross that out, don't I? There we go, I've used that. Then I need to just find my highlighted part. Communist official, every communist official must be shot. Every, quotes, every communist official must be shot. Okay, and that's all you need to do for this first question. Your inferences must be different from one another. So I couldn't say reacted angrily and then reacted by shouting, because that's basically the same thing. I'm just slightly changing what I'm saying. Okay, they must be quite different. It doesn't matter that I haven't used all of them. I've done the preparation here, so I've got plenty to choose from. This question should really take you no more than 5 or 6 minutes. Okay, so you need to be quite quick with this. Pick the simplest thing, don't overcomplicate it. So that's how you do the first question. The remaining videos that I upload are going to go through question by question and show you how to do those as well. All that remains for me to tell you is how it's probably best to split up your time. So here are my notes for this paper. It comes in 2 parts. We've got a part B and a part A. Part A is question 1 and question 2. That should take you roughly 20 minutes. Okay, so that's the 20 minutes part of the 1 hour 20. Part B should take you about an hour. We've got sources and interpretations, like I said. 28 should get you that magic 5. Okay, you must read all the questions and read them more than once. Select the easiest parts to answer first and then unpack your knowledge. Okay, so go through, dump your knowledge on the questions. I'm going to do a whole separate video that shows you how to do that. Okay, but for now, that's paper 3 in a nutshell, and that's how you answer question 1. I hope that was helpful. Please do look at the remaining videos so that you can really get to grips with how to answer the questions on this paper. Okay, thank you for watching. I've been Mr. Hutchings. I hope you found it useful. See you soon.